War Thunder has plenty of guided weapons, mostly concentrated in modern arsenals. Today, though, we are going back to the roots, to the very first precision weapons, many of which were developed during World War II, to show you how to play aircraft armed with these early guided munitions. Because all the weapons we'll cover are manually guided, you'll want to set up a few controls first. Open Controls, Aircraft, Weapons, and bind comfortable keys for the yaw and pitch axes of guided ordnance. For bombs, turn on Relative Control on both axes. If you plan to use guided missiles, turn Relative Control off. Let's start with a recent addition, one of the earliest air-to-air guided missiles, the X-4, carried by the FW-190 F-8. The X-4 was designed to take down heavy bombers, so don't expect long range or great agility. In dogfights, pick the biggest, least maneuverable target you can find. In a head-on approach, you can launch from roughly 5 kilometers, and in pursuit, from about 3 kilometers. From there, keep the missile's tracer on the target. The X-4 uses an acoustic fuse, so it will detonate without a direct hit if it comes close enough. Note that the missile initially drops in altitude until it builds speed, so be ready to correct that with the control inputs. In no marker modes, for example, mixed realistic battles, the X-4 can be even deadlier. Enemies often don't realize they've been targeted until it's too late. The X-4 can also be used against ground targets, but its effectiveness is limited. Its warhead contains 9 kilograms of TNT, enough to reliably damage only lightly armored vehicles at close range, so focus on AA guns and similar soft targets. Another classic German weapon is the Fritz X guided bomb, fielded on the Heinkel 111H6 and the Heinkel 177. When you enter the bombing site, you'll see the aiming cross and maneuver limits. Those lines show you how far you can steer the bomb. After release, your key inputs deflect the bomb's control surfaces, and the restriction lines update to reflect what the munition can actually do. At the Heinkel 111's BR, the Fritz X tears through the heaviest ground targets and can wreck concentrated formations. In naval battles, it sinks destroyers with ease. Against higher BR opponents like the Griffin, things get harder. Ground targets have stronger protection and require pinpoint hits, and ships often sport heavier AA. To deal with that, drop from the altitude of 5 kilometers or higher and steer the bomb towards vulnerable spots such as magazines or ammo stowages. The Heinkel 177A3 also carries the Henschel HS-293. It's a rocket-propelled, winged guided weapon, essentially an early anti-ship missile. Its high-explosive warhead isn't ideal for heavily armored targets, so use it against light cruisers or destroyers. Release from a shallow dive at roughly 6 to 7 kilometers and wait for the missile to come into view. Then, guide it so the tracer stays on the enemy silhouette. In mixed ground battles, the HS-293's low agility makes close work tricky, but a near hit among clustered light tanks or SPAA can net multiple hits. Japan's counterpart to the HS-293 is the Ki-148, mounted on the Ki-48-2 Otsu. It's also winged and powered, so its employment is similar to the Henschel. One tip: bleed off a little airspeed before launch so you don't overrun your own missile. The Ki-148's warhead is smaller than the Henschel's, but the missile is surprisingly maneuverable, handy when working ground targets. Which of these early guided weapons do you like best? Share your experiences in the comments, and see you in our next video.